Going live. Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to Think and Grow Rich. I was about to say Think and Grow Rach. Daily Hangout. This is where you can get to become your inner Rachel. No, only joking. My name's Sandy Levesque, and I'm joined here by Glenn Walker in Tennessee and Tracy Stark in Provence.
We.
Yeah, going. Yeah. And the aim of this group is to read from Think and Grow Rich, or the lecture notes that Napoleon did, and in Napoleon Hill, and to get a daily dose of prosperity consciousness, because it's like with anything, the more you do it, the more small doses you get, like the more you just start to become it. So if you'd like to join in the Hangout, then just join the Facebook group and follow the instructions. I've made it as clear as I can, so if you still can't get in, I'm not sure there's anything anyone can do for you. At this point, I'm just like, I'm not sure what else to do. It's not rocket science. So, and where there's a will, there's a way. You can do it. I know it. um,
It's your
so,
daily dose of vitamin prosperity, vitamin P.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yes.
and actually, I wanted to just quickly share. Oh, and hi, Benjamin. We have a bonjour, bonjour. So, thanks for your message. And I just want to quickly share that I was listening to a very inspiring call yesterday with a woman who has just had a crazily successful month on the internet. You know, like the kind that most people would just think is not real. And she was actually talking about, she just had a six-figure month. So, you know, making
Who
over
is this?
$100,000 in a single month. She,
Single month. Oh, goodness.
yeah, you know, and
Yeah.
and actually, the funny thing was that I wanted to share that is that she was talking about what's helped her do that with her husband and her family. They travel the world and they use the internet to be able to do that. And one of the things that she does and that she's done for years is she reads Think and Grow Rich. She does the daily statements. She reads it out loud to herself in the morning and in the evening. And it was just so, when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, yet another story. And it was actually the second one I'd heard in 2 days, because someone else that I've just recently started following, he's not had quite as much. I mean, he's still having. The funny thing with the internet is that normal success becomes about three times bigger than what success is in normal normal jobs. So he's more kind. I mean, with normal standards, he's very successful. On the internet, he's not quite as big as she is, this woman, but he does it too. And he was sharing that he reads it out loud, and in the morning and in the evening to himself, as well as just reading it and listening to it. So I
Who
just
is the
thought that was
woman?
cool. In 2 days, two examples of people who do this book, and I just thought, well, Andrew Carnegie, wherever you are, you started something amazing.
Wow. Who is the
Yeah.
Yeah.
woman, Sandy, if you can
Oh
say?
yeah, sure. It was Rhonda Swan. Um,
Oh,
it was the
six-figure
Empower
month?
Hour. Actually, I mean,
I,
this.
I didn't get around to listening to it yet, but a six-figure month
Yeah, it
recently?
was. Listen to Tracy today. It was
Oh
amazing.
my
And
God.
actually, if you want to listen to it, anyone listening, you can go to my Facebook wall, and I put the details there. I'll post in the comments how to listen to the replay. And she didn't talk about Think and Grow Rich that much. It was just one of the things that she does. And I just thought
Wow.
that was amazing, because I've never heard her talk about it before. I follow her a lot. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many people that use this, and we just don't even know. You know, it's the breadth of
Brilliant.
it is amazing. So, uh, so would Tracy, would you like to read, seeing as you haven't been, we haven't heard you in a while?
I don't
That'd
know
be
if I
great.
have the file. Where? Let me.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
Which file are we on? Let me see if I can
We're on
find
the
it.
last one actually, PDF 5, and we're on page 8.
Okay. I'm
So,
opening iBooks, so why don't we
okay.
chat for a second while I get it up?
Yeah,
I'd love
sure.
to read. Yeah.
um, yeah. So
So,
actually, and what I can also share was that the guy I just mentioned, Chris, his name is, he was saying that he used to listen to, he'd recorded himself reading his personal statement, you know, chapter 4 and 2. Napoleon goes in the book Think and Grow Rich. He goes through a statement that you can write out of your target. And so this guy had said he recorded himself listening, and he listened to it every day. But then he started to actually read it out loud, and that was actually the original instruction. And he said that it was just much more powerful. So I've started to do that now, even though it might be, a bit embarrassing if there's anyone around.
You'll get over it.
Yeah, you just read it out.
I think speaking it, Sandy, speaking it, vocalizing it, does push it into you further.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Reading is one
exactly.
thing, but each sense that you use is a contribution.
Yeah. That's why I think our group's quite cool, actually. I was thinking about this yesterday because not only can you listen to the book being read, but you can see it with your eyes. And
Yes.
then, we obviously chat about it afterwards. So it's like you get the visual stuff, but also audio. So
Definitely.
it's like, yeah.
So, what page are we on?
Oh, sorry, at page 8, and we're on the number 3 at the bottom of the page. It says the negative influences near you.
And this is on Your Right to Be Rich, 4 of 9?
5 of 9, the last one.
Oh, sorry. That won't take but a second.
That's okay. And I know we're watching today. What we're talking about is lecture notes that are really great. Actually, you can download them in the Facebook group. If you just go to the file section, there's 5 different PDFs. They're about 20 pages each. I think there's some more. So, I forgot to do that. I'm going to write this down. Ask the guy who sent them to me if he can send me the other ones.
Sandy, one thing we might mention is that the lecture notes are kind of a teaser for the book, right?
Yeah.
In other words, when you read those are so condensed and there's so much in such a small space that really enrich it is to read the book. Really read the book, right? Go to the book.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Number 5 open. How does it start at the top of the page?
Oh, it starts with,
For some reason,
if
my
you
page
fear
isn't
unpleasant
numbered.
circumstances.
If what?
If you fear unpleasant circumstances.
Great, got it. Now,
And
I
then
will
so
share it.
we're on the negative influences near you, I think. Unless, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Should I start at the top or farther? Oh, 3, okay.
Number 3, yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you, Tracy.
3. The negative influences near you, including people who are negative. 4. Perhaps some inborn negative traits you brought over with you from birth. These can be transmuted into positive traits, too, as soon as you find out what they are. There are a lot of people who are born with natural traits of a negative nature. In other words, if you take a person who's born in an environment of poverty, all of his relatives are poverty-stricken. All of the neighbors are poverty-stricken. He felt nothing but poverty and heard nothing but poverty talk. That's the condition Napoleon was born in, and he knew that you could be born with that trait. It was one of the most difficult things that he had to whip, an inborn fear of poverty. Then worries in the lack of money and the lack of progress in your business life. You can put in most of your time with worrying over the things, or you can transmute that state of mind over into working out ways and means of overcoming those worries. Think about the positive side instead of the negative side. Worrying over the negative side is not going to do anything except get you in deeper and deeper and deeper. That's all it's going to do. Then, unrequited love and unbalanced emotional frustrations in your relations with the opposite sex. You don't have to let these unrequited love affairs destroy your balance of mind, as so many people do. It's up to you to do something about it, to maintain a PMA and to recognize that your first duty is to get control of yourself. Unsound health, either real or imaginary. You can worry an awful lot about that, about the things that you might think happen to you but never do physically. If it weren't for that, we call it hypochondria. That's a $2.50 word with the doctors. Audience members, $5. Napoleon, $5, yes. It used to be $2.50, but it's $5 now, and sometimes a lot more than $5. You can put in an awful lot of time being negative over that if you don't have a PMA towards your health. Think in terms of health and your mental attitude. Think in terms of health, and your mental attitude will have a tremendous amount to do with what happens to your physical body. There's no doubt about that. You can try that out anytime you please. When you think you're not feeling well, let some good piece of news come along and see how quickly you snap out of it. Have you ever had that experience? Female audience member, yes. You weren't feeling so badly at all, but the good news did away with the feeling that you had. Intolerance, the lack of an open mind on all subjects. Then, greed for more material possessions than you need. Ignorance, or the real extent of the power of your mind and its unlimited potentials for the attainment of anything you desire. Lack of a definite major purpose, or lack of a definite philosophy by which to live and guide your life. The vast majority of people have no philosophy to live by. Did you know that? No philosophy. They did by hook or crook, by chance, by circumstance, and they're just like a dry leaf on the bosom of the wind. They go whichever way the wind blows. And there's nothing they can do about it because they have no philosophy of life, no set of rules to go by. Trusting to luck and to misfortune. Generally, misfortune is the one that rules. You have to have a philosophy that you can live by. There are many philosophies that you can die by, but Napoleon was much more interested in the ones that you can live by. This is a philosophy you can live by in such a way that the neighbors look upon you as something desirable. They feel happy to have you there. You feel happy to be there. You not only enjoy prosperity, contentment, and peace of mind, but you reflect that in everybody that comes into contact with you. That's the way people should live. That's the kind of mental attitude people should have to live by. Last but not least, the habit of allowing others to do your thinking for you. If you're going to do that, you'll never have a PMA because you won't have your own mind. This gives you an idea how Napoleon went into transmuting an unpleasant circumstance into something useful. When this circumstance happened, he had a real reason to go out and fight, not mentally or orally, but physically. If he had to settle the business from behind pine trees with 6-shooters, it would have been justified under the circumstances. Instead of that, Napoleon elected to do something that would damage no one and that would benefit himself. He elected to express himself through this essay, which is A Challenge to Life, which says, Life, let me get a drink. Life, you can't subdue me because I refuse to take your discipline too seriously. When you try to hurt me, I laugh, and the laughter knows no pain. I appreciate your joys wherever I find them. Your sorrows neither frighten nor discourage me, for there is laughter in my soul. Temporary defeat does not make me sad. I simply set music to the words of defeat and turn it into a song. Your tears are not for me, for I like laughter much better, and because I like it, I use it as a substitute for grief and sorrow and pain and disappointment. Life, you are a fickle trickster, don't deny it. You slip the emotion of love into my heart so that you might use it as a thorn with which to prick my soul. But I learned to dodge your trap with laughter. You tried to lure me with the desire for gold, but I have fooled you by following the trail which leads to knowledge instead. You induced me to build beautiful friendships, then converted my friends to enemies so you may harden my heart. But I sidestepped your figure on this by laughing off your attempts and selecting new friends in my own way. You caused men to cheat me at trades so I will become distrustful, but I won't again because I possess one precious asset which no man can steal. It is the power to think my own thoughts and to be myself. You threaten me with death, but to me death is nothing worse than a long, peaceful sleep, and sleep is the sweetest of human experiences, excepting laughter. You build a fire of hope in my heart, then sprinkle water on the flames, but I can go you one better by rekindling the fire, and I laugh at you once more. You have nothing that can lure me away from laughter, and you are powerless to scare me into submission. To a life of laughter, then, I raise my cup of cheer. Audience applauses. You may think it's easy to have that kind of an emotional reaction to an unpleasant experience where you've been damaged, hurt, and injured by those who should have been loyal to you. This business of striking back at people who have injured you or tried to injure you is just a lack of self-discipline. You haven't really become acquainted with your own powers or your own ways and means of benefiting by those powers. If you stoop to the low level of trying to strike back at some person who has slandered you, or cheated you in one way or another, don't do it. Don't ever do it, because you'll only lower yourself in the estimation of yourself and of your creators. Never allow anybody to drag you down to their level. You set the level on which you wish to deal with people. If they want to come up to your level, then that's all right, but don't let them stay down on theirs. Set your own high level and stand your ground, come what may. Napoleon had a better way to defend himself. He had a mind, and he knew what to do with that mind. He never was without defense. When Napoleon's editor chose The Challenge to Life, Napoleon said, "That's fine, and I want every one of the students to have a copy of the magazine, because I want to tell them the story in the back of that essay." You may be interested in knowing that the essay was largely responsible for the late Mahatma Gandhi becoming interested in Napoleon's philosophy and having it published throughout India. That essay has influenced millions of people and will in time be indirectly or directly influenced beneficially to millions of people who are not yet born. It's not the brilliance of the essay, it's the thought back of it. Don't you know that you react to these unpleasant things in life in such a way that life can't conquer you? Nobody can conquer you. If you've got laughter in your soul, you're sitting very close to the plane on which the Creator acts himself when you've got laughter in your soul. It's a wonderful thing to have. Laughter. Laughter in the soul and laughter on the face. You'll never be without friends. You'll never be without opportunity. And you'll never be without a means of defending yourself against people who do not know anything about laughter. Autosuggestion, that is, suggestion to self, through which dominating thoughts and deeds are conveyed to the subconscious mind, is the medium by which self-discipline becomes a habit. The starting point in the development of self-discipline is definiteness of purpose. You'll notice that every one of these lessons, come what may, from whatever angle you choose, you can't get away from that term, definiteness of purpose. It just stands out like a sore thumb, and you can't get away from it because it is the starting point of all achievement of everything that you do, whether it's good or bad. You may be sure that it starts with definiteness of purpose. The reason for repetition of an idea, repetition of it is what, do you think? Why should you write out your definite major purpose, for instance? Memorize it and go over it as a ritual, day in and day out. Why should you do that? Audience members give various answers. To get into the subconscious mind. To get into the subconscious mind. To get it into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind gets into the habit of believing that which it hears often. You can tell it a lie over and over again, and you'll finally get to where you don't know whether it's a lie or not. The subconscious doesn't either. Napoleon knew of people who have done just that thing. Obsessional desire is the dynamo that gives life an action to definiteness of purpose. How do you make a desire obsessional in the first place? Audience member, by living with it in your mind. Napoleon, that's right, by living with it in your mind, calling it into your mind and seeing the physical manifestation of it out there somewhere in the circumstances of your life. In other words, if you have an obsessional desire for enough money to buy a new Cadillac, and you're now driving a Ford or something less than a Ford, and you want that nice new Cadillac and don't have enough money to pay for it, what do? The first thing you do, you go over to the Cadillac agency and get one of those nice new catalogs with all of the models in it. Then you pick out the model you want. Every time you get in that Ford and start down the street, just before you start off, you kick off the starter, and then you shut your eyes for a few moments and you see yourself sitting on top of a nice new Cadillac. Napoleon and audience laugh. She purrs down the street as you give her the gas. You imagine right now that you already have it. You know you own this Cadillac, but you don't exactly have to say so. But for the time being, you're there at the wheel of your Cadillac. Sounds silly, doesn't it? Audience members, no. It may sound silly, but it is not silly. I can assure you it's not silly. Napoleon talked himself into his first Rolls-Royce that very way. One evening, Napoleon saw that one of his students had exactly the same Rolls-Royce that he described, even down to the orange-colored wire wheels. The student called Napoleon at his hotel in the morning and said, "Come on down, I have your car, Mr. Hill." He went down there and the student had it. He had the legal transfer made out and he had the keys ready to hand to him. All he wanted to show him was a little trick or two that you had to know about a Rolls-Royce in order to get the best results out of it. He took Napoleon down Riverside Drive, drove a little bit, got out, shook hands with him, and said, "Well, Mr. Hill, I'm very happy to have the privilege of letting you have this nice car. Isn't that a wonderful thing for a man to do?" Hold on a second. My umbrella and everything is about to blow away. Okay. That was a huge.
Don't blow away, Tracy.
That was a huge gust. That was like 80 kilometers an hour or something.
Okay.
Felt like Dorothy. All right. He said nothing. I got to finish this story. He said nothing about price. He said, "The price? You fix the price. I'll tell you what I paid for it. You need it worse than I do. I don't actually need it at all. You do need it, and I want you to have it. Be careful what you set your heart upon through obsessional desire, for the subconscious mind goes to work on translating that desire into its material equivalent. Self-discipline cannot be attained overnight. It must be developed step by step by the formation of definite habits of thought and physical action. You must go through the motion of doing something about it." In other words, when Al Allen comes on the stage, do you notice the chemical change that takes place in your mind while you're doing that? Of course you do. Suppose you just sat still in your seat and you repeated those words in monotone. It wouldn't do you a bit of good in the world, would it? You learn to become enthusiastic by acting enthusiastically. That's definite. If you follow the instructions laid down in this lesson, if you set your heart on anything and stand by that decision, you're going to get it. Be sure before you start any obsessional desire about anything that the thing that you're desiring is something that you will be willing to live with after you get it, him or her. Should I stop here?
Yeah, Tracy, I think that's a good place to stop actually, because it then switches tack a little bit. Thank you so much. Also, we had a comment from Helen Lingard. Great to see you, Helen. She says, "Not a question, but a great reading, Tracy. You have a voice for voiceovers."
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does indeed.
Yeah, he's. I'll let you. Well, it feels like Tracy's disappeared because we can only see your screen now.
I'm trying to get my face back in here, but.
Oh, he's actually a voice actor, Helen, which is why we're really lucky to have Tracy read when he's here on the Hangout. So. Yeah.
I did it for years and years. It was like a sweatshop.
Yeah, you refined your art. Oh.
And Coca-Cola is the absolute worst thing for it.
Oh, that's not wine, is it?
No, it's Coke.
Okay. I was like, bloody hell.
Warning all. I think I could fit a whole bottle in this mug.
It could have been a wine.
You'd be like, "You've got your wine, I've got my half baguette."
That's why I kept stuttering.
Hey, Sandy, do they have baguettes in Portugal?
People have told me they do. I'm not taking any risks though. I'm going to go and stock up.
I know. I bet you they won't be as good as French, though. You know.
Yeah. But just to share something with the reading, that really it was actually something that this woman shared that on the call I spoke about at the beginning. She said something so relevant to this. You know, when Napoleon's talking about you get this obsessional desire and you have to keep thinking about it and brainwash your subconscious mind. Well, this woman who had just made over $100,000 on the internet, she talked about how when she was a teenage girl, she was an athlete as a child. And I think she did like softball or baseball or something. And when she was, she would do, you know, she was really good. And when she was 12 years old, her coach on her team switched her position And she was really annoyed because she was really good at what she did, and then she had to learn to do it all from a different side. You know, instead of like looking to this side, she had to train herself to look to that side. And she actually wanted to stop. And her coach said to her, focus on what you're good at today, in learning this new thing, because tomorrow you'll be better. Just something like that. Like I wrote it down. I have to check my notes. But she said it stuck with her, even though she's now 41, because she's always remembered that. But like even I'm just getting my notes here. She's focus on what you're good at today, because tomorrow you'll be better at it then. And the basic message that she was sharing was, even if you don't feel like you're good at something, you will get better. And athletes have that resilience. They keep practicing, you know, going and training every single day, because they know that they're working towards like physical perfection. So she applies that in her business now, and you know, like reading every day from Think and Grow Rich is one of the things that she does really methodically. So I just thought that was really inspiring, because I remember when I first started to read my personal statement, I stopped after like a month, because I just didn't think anything was happening. Did you guys want to share anything that came to your mind when you heard when you saw this reading?
Yeah, the person who edited this this scanned version of it needs to be taken outside and
it's not that easy to read. Yeah.
Sometimes conversational reading is very, very difficult. But
you did a great job, though. Yeah.
Well, I noticed he has a cautionary note in there too about, you know, be careful what you wish for, right? In other words, be sure you're driving in the direction of your dream, right? You know,
that's so important.
Not getting pulled off somewhere and doing things that aren't in the direction of your dream. You know, I think that's a good thing too. You know.
Yeah. I learned that the hard way.
You know, like you were saying earlier, Sandy. Like you were saying earlier, you know, all of the senses that you can bring into your developing the dream, right? Is something that will push your subconscious a little harder, I think.
Yeah.
Reading,
exactly.
writing, listening, speaking out yourself, saying it even to yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, reading a statement, you know, all of these things are elemental, I think, you know.
Yeah, there's actually some files that I uploaded in the Facebook group at the beginning when we started this, which are hypnotic trance tracks that someone else I follow online. He's also used Think and Grow Rich. He was actually the guy that first got me interested in the book. And he recorded his personal statement over this trance music and listened to it, made his wife listen to it every night for months. And I think he probably still does listen to it. So I was doing that too at one point, but it's a bit hard to do when you've got, you know, various people around you.
Yeah. Well, you have to find a place that you can just do it, right? You know.
Yeah, unless you have it on really quiet, I think. But I know the walls are quite thin in the house where I'm staying right now, so like, I don't want anyone to
And I did like the laughter, because I think of Tracy when I hear about the laughter, you know, because he's got that sense of humor, tremendous sense of humor, and laughter is definitely a part of you know, getting through life, right? Giving you a boost when you need it. And I sing to myself during the day when I'm working or something. I'll sing, you know, because it's just fun, you know.
Yeah. Whistle while you work.
Yeah, you know, whistle while you work, you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Tracy, did you want to share anything?
I'm fighting the wind here.
You're fighting the... Yeah, I know you look quite busy there. I can share something quickly about, unless I just don't want to like talk over everyone. Did you want to say something? Or?
No, I'm it takes me more time to register after I've read it out loud.
Yeah.
Because I'm concentrating so much on reading it properly that I don't always register what I've just read. So
actually, I can just quickly recap, because I find it quite useful actually when we're doing this. So
Okay.
he basically talked a lot about getting away, getting away from people that have a negative influence on you. But he didn't go really into that very much. But like just training yourself, because he said he grew up in poverty, and that he, in fact, in one of the readings, it's so inspiring. It was actually on Friday. If you want to go back and look, anyone watching, he shared how he was at one point. His mum had just died. This is Napoleon Hill, and he grew up in a really poor family. And he was literally didn't have any food, and he was sat on a riverbank in his hometown, wondering where am I going to get food from, and literally hungry, no money. Mum just died, feeling quite lonely, and he started daydreaming about coming back to that spot in a Rolls Royce and making a lot of money, becoming very wealthy and successful, and having a completely different life to what was right there around him in that moment. And that he actually went back and did it. Many years later, went back in an amazing Rolls Royce or something, and drove back to that same spot. And he basically, like, already at a young age, was training his mind to think of what he actually wanted, not what he was physically seeing in front of him. So he talks about that, like, and he calls that like a positive mental attitude. Having this obsessional desire for something, and what else? And then being able to laugh about things, and repetition. The lecture notes kind of jump around a bit, so but that was the main gist of it.
The repetition part, I do like that. The kind of tricking your subconscious mind into believing something is true even when it's not yet true, or as some people from extreme sides of either political spectrum like to do.
Yeah.
They tell themselves that their idea is the only proper one over and over again until they finally believe it's true, and they will fight to the death to support that idea. So, if you can do it for a more positive sense. Like when I'm in my car, the antenna on my car, it broke off. It just died. So I get like two stations, and they're both in French, and one's like just a jabbering station, and the other one's jazz. It's a mixture of music. So sometimes I'll just listen to my iPod with my iPhone with one headphone in, and the other one is for other cars. But if my phone is dead, then I'll just kind of maybe think of a mantra and repeat something to myself, something that I want over and over again. And it can be anything, really. Sometimes it's not as essential for my life. Sometimes I'll be going, I need a Coke machine. I need a Coke machine. I will find a Coke machine. They don't have many Coke machines in France, Glenn.
No.
But or it'll be something more like, about.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. I'd be more likely to find a baguette machine than a Coke machine.
Yeah, right.
Cheese bender.
Exactly.
But yeah, those things. It's a good way to spend. Madame Baguette, I hope you're recuperating.
Yeah, I know.
A wheelchair.
Yeah. Also, actually,
I think the Baguette series was kind of interesting, Sandy.
yeah, I know. I have to do something with that. Actually, that's on my list this week.
Where's her fan page?
But actually, I just also realized in reading back over it as you're talking, Tracy, that the part you read about the Rolls Royce, he said you can start imagining having a Rolls Royce. Did you read about that?
Yes.
You did. Okay.
I know. I read about the guy giving him the Rolls Royce. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm imagining it to the color, to the spokes on the wheel, and everything.
Yeah, and what I liked about this was that he said every time you get in your existing car, the Ford, just before you start driving, close your eyes and imagine that you're in a nice new Cadillac. And he also says, before you've got it or even got the money to get your car that you'd like, go to the car agency, the Cadillac agency, and get a catalog and pick out which one you'd like. And that reminded me, actually, guys, of a video I once watched with some, again, internet people. I'm sorry, all my examples are internet people. That's just what I do.
Sandy has no real friends in the real world.
Oh, well.
Poor thing.
No, I don't mean like that. I just mean that all my real life example. Well, it's just like a reflection
It's
of
okay.
things. You know, when I was teaching Zumba, none of my Zumba colleagues would have been people I would share because everyone was like struggling and just getting by. It's just really interesting, you know, when you make a deliberate choice to do something that can create the kind of lifestyle you'd like. You know, your examples start to be different.
I'm
um,
only messing with you, Sandy. It's okay.
yeah, that's okay. But you're right. You know, I do have a lot of yeah. I realized that living in France, it's not so easy to have friends that are like optimistic people. um, so I do actually tend to have more online friends at the moment. But what I was going to share was this video. A guy talked about, he's now a millionaire, but he actually, when he was still working in an office, his friends would laugh at him because he would get Auto Trader magazine and he would only look at the luxury cars, and he started to buy luxury car magazines, and his friends were like, "Why are you reading about Porsches and Lamborghinis? You can't even afford a Jeep." And he said, "But I will be able to afford it, and I'm training my mind to think about it already." And he's now, now has, I think he has several different cars. And you might not be you might be watching this thinking, "Well, I don't care about having a Cadillac or a Porsche," but you can apply this to anything, and that's the point that Napoleon's making. It could be anything you want.
So who was that? Michelangelo Lopez?
No, I don't even know this guy's name. He was on a video with Frank Kern and Anthony Robbins. It's a really popular video, actually, about why people make it online and others don't. And he talked about it in that. If I find the link, it's not really relevant. That was just like one little tiny bit of it that just. I love picking out real life examples, of what Napoleon's talking about. Like just finding examples where I've literally seen people doing that, because I think that's what helps a book come to life. When you're literally surrounded by it.
And Janis Joplin did the same thing. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends.
Exactly. You can sing about it. Oh, we have some more comments. Benjamin saying the French are very optimistic. That's all I can say to that.
I'll give the French shrug.
Yeah.
You're
joking, right, Ben?
In Provence, yeah. Well, until you meet a farmer, like a grape farmer, they're never optimistic. They're always like, it could hail tomorrow. I could lose the whole crop. That's how they all think. So,
yeah, and it may hail because of that.
Yeah. Well, one farmer actually told me that only 5 miles away, this one particular grape farmer had about 10 hectares, and he lost every grape to hail. Meanwhile, 5 miles away in Bonnu, it was a sunny sky.
Yeah.
So maybe he brought it onto himself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. Dwelling on the negative, you just don't do it. It's not in our world.
He's done for the year.
And also, actually, we have a Q&A from Helen, which I'm not clear about. She's asking, can you post the link for Paul's link? But I don't remember who Paul is, unless I...
Maybe you were talking about Paul Hutchings and his the audio? Was it Paul that listened to the audio? His statement?
No, I didn't. No. Well, Helen, just send me a message on Facebook, because I'm not sure which one you mean. So anyway, well, we're coming up to... I have to go walk my dog, so... thank you so much for reading, Tracy.
You're welcome. Oh, my God.
He's about to blow away. You blew us away.
I think it's the Mistral.
And just as a recap of what we read today, have a burning obsessional desire for what you would like, and just think about it so much and read it to yourself and repeat it so much that you start to brainwash your subconscious mind, and you can even like daydream and think about the things you would like whilst you're sitting there doing the opposite. Sitting there afford, you can be thinking about when you're going to have a Cadillac or whichever car you would like. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for being here, Glenn and Tracy. Let's go out and change the world by becoming really crazily prosperity rich.
Exactly.
Have a marvelous Tuesday.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, indeed. And eat some watermelon.
Ah, yes.
Hey, yum.
And baguette. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.